Hey everybody, so today is my diary entry 1, or yeah, diary entry 1. As I said before, I'm not gonna edit really or cut anything out just because I want it to just be what it is, because I feel like if I were to edit it, it would come off like something that's scripted or something that's like not authentic, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna be as realistic as possible and be just all natural. And I know right now I probably look really rough. I've been running errands today, and I went to have breakfast, and I bought some new stuff for my room, which I'm really excited about. It's probably not super exciting to you, but it's exciting for me. And yeah, at times if you see me like look away from the camera, it's just because I still get really nervous being in front of a camera. I don't know why. I feel like just because I'm just staring into like the lens. So if you see me look off, it's not because I'm like bored or anything. Yeah, so we're gonna get started with my first diary entry. And the other day I was gonna film the day after, so this is gonna be probably 2 days after now. I didn't want to record the day after just because I felt like I had really emotionally drained myself by expressing all of that emotion, and I needed time to recharge, and I needed time to really reflect and get my thoughts together on how I wanted to approach this and how I wanted to go about this. I also just wanted a day to relax and really just recuperate, and I got that, and it's been good. And so I just thought that today I was going to give you a little bit more of insight on what are the things that Christopher is dealing with, and what are some of the habits that he's had to change and that he's still working on. Some habits have gotten way better than before, and then there's some habits that I still struggle with, which is okay because it's something that you, especially if it's something that you've been so accustomed to for, I'm 28 years old. I know. I'm not going to say that out loud anymore because I don't like that age. But it's something that I've been so habitual with since God knows when, and doing something like that and having to change your habits involving like you literally changing something that you're so used to for your whole life is very, it's not difficult. I mean, it can be at times, but it's more of just having to get used to not going back to that, because now you're doing stuff that's making you feel a little bit uncomfortable, which is normal and it's gonna happen, and that's how you're supposed to feel. But at first I was like, this is uncomfortable, I should like go back to what I'm used to. But going back to what you used to is the reason why you're in this mess in the first place. So yeah, so we're gonna just jump right into what Christopher has been dealing with and what he's still working through. And yeah, so one of the main things that I have really struggled with, and still am struggling with, but learning each day to slowly get in control, is basically in control of my thoughts and in control of my emotions and my feelings, and being rational and really thinking about things before I commit an action, if that makes sense. So I have a habit of really overthinking a lot of things, people's answers or responses to me, the way they act towards me. I am constantly in my head about it, and it's not a fun experience. It's something that it just eats away at you daily, and it sucks. But the fact that like I'm aware of it now makes it a little bit easier, because now I can sense when I'm being triggered or something's triggering me. And so I'm learning different methods and different ways to cope with it, to really be present with it, but not to the point where I'm internalizing it, or to the point where I'm just shoving it away and distracting myself completely. Because yes, you can distract yourself, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be there. So unless you work through it, it's not going to go anywhere. And so that's what I am currently learning how to do right now. I get in my head a lot sometimes, especially at nighttime, I noticed, because that's my time where I don't have anything to do throughout the day and I'm just laying there with my thoughts. But I'm slowly learning different methods and practicing different things to see what works and what doesn't work. I even have an app called Calm that a very loving person named Mel gave to me that I used to work with. She's such a sweet person. She told me that when she gets really bad anxiety and she can't really be calm and go to sleep, she uses this app. And there's a lot of different things on the app, but I mostly just use it for the sound, because sometimes if I can't sleep, I like listening to it. And you can pick from like a lot of different sounds, but the main one I have is it's like rain hitting leaves. I don't know, I've always just found very peaceful energy from listening to the rain. I love having my window open when it's raining, just because I like to hear the way the rain hits when it's hitting the floor. So that's what I use sometimes when I can't sleep, and it's really helped me a lot. If you are religious, which I am, not that everybody's going to be, but whatever you believe in, even if it's Buddhism or Catholicism or whatever your religion is, for me at least, being a Christian, it's peaceful for me to read a scripture that my mom used to say to us a lot when we were younger, and she would always open up our Bible to the scripture that there is, and she would put it under our pillow. And for some reason, when I do that, it really just calms me and keeps me at peace. And so I do it especially on really hard nights when I can't find any way to really calm myself. If the app's not working, if me going on like TikTok, which is probably one of the only social medias I have right now, just because I am taking a break, because it is something that affects my mindset a lot. And being off of social media lately has been really keeping me present. It's keeping me to a point where I feel like I'm not constantly checking up on people and constantly, worrying about what other people are doing. It just really allows me to be grounded and really focus on what Christopher needs to get done throughout the day. And yeah, so that's something that Christopher is learning to change about himself. That's a habit that I'm working through, because I feel like, yes, people overthink, but when you are really bad at overthinking, it tends to start affecting your reality and affecting the results of your actions and your feelings that you end up creating inside your head. And so it takes a really big toll, and it's caused me a lot of difficulty sometimes. But I am doing this for a reason, because I want people to know that like it's being someone who overthinks isn't bad. It's just something that you have to learn to cope through, to work through, and it's not something that's just going to happen overnight. It's something that is going to take practice, which is hard for me, because I'm also someone who's very impatient, especially when it comes to, significant others or friends. I tend to get very impatient and needy when I'm wanting the affection and attention of my loved ones or my friends or even my family sometimes. And now that I'm been going to therapy, I'm learning to give myself the attention and the affection I'm wanting from others, because they can't always be giving you attention 24/7. And this is something that I've really, really had to work through, because I can be very needy at times, and it's not so much that I do it on purpose or I do it to smother people. It goes back to my attachment issues and my abandonment issues, and it makes me feel like they're just basically leaving me and I'm being left and neglected, and that's not a fun feeling for me. But being aware of it, I do have moments where I will notice I start to act like this, and then I take a step and I do what I can to really evaluate and try to see it from a bigger picture. And it's been rough, and it still is rough, and there's going to be days maybe in the future that I will struggle really bad with. But I have these tools now that I can be able to be aware of my triggers and be aware of where Christopher needs to really ground himself. And it's a process, and I am being as patient as I can. There's times where I wish I could just rush the process, but that's not how it works. I feel like me learning the patience is also teaching me that things take time, especially sorry. They take time, and it's okay if you are not in a, like, I have to remind myself I don't need to be in a rush to better myself, because at the end of the day, you're bettering yourself for you, you're bettering yourself, for your own sanity, for your own mental health. So I have to constantly remind myself, Christopher, it's okay if this is taking time, because this is benefiting you, and you trying to rush through it is not going to make things better. It's going to maybe make things worse, or maybe it's just not going to help your process at all. So I'm taking my time. Sorry, my throat was getting a little dry because I drink a little too much coffee sometimes. But today's been a fairly good day. It's been a day that's had a lot of things for me to really work through, and I notice the more I give myself to do throughout the day, the less I'm in my head, which makes me so happy, because there's times where I will have nothing to do, and I literally am just sitting here in my room just going over different thoughts in my head. And obviously that's not good, because what it does is it starts making up these scenarios in your head that aren't even real. And then what's sad is that your mind believes it so much that it starts making you feel like it's real, and then you get this really heavy weight in your chest, and you just start getting very emotional, and then that's when you start acting irrational, which is something that I'm still learning to control and catch when it's starting to happen. And I'm aware of it, but it's like, because it's something that I'm so accustomed to, when I feel like it's not happening, it still will happen a bit. So I'm glad that I'm catching it more. It's just something that I'm still going to have to work through, and something that I'm still going to have to really be patient with. But I am doing my best each and every day. I have a mantra that I say every morning. I am very humbled and grateful every day that I wake up and have another day of life. I try to be as grateful as possible. I have affirmations that I do every day in my journal. I do this routine where I will write something that pops out to me during the day, because the affirmation app I use, it notifies you. It doesn't notify you, but it'll give you affirmations throughout the day. And if there's one that really compels me to want to write about it and connect with it, then I will. And then I have another routine where I do with my best friend Stephanie, who actually told me about the app. We will choose one that we feel works best for us, but is also actually for the other person, if that makes sense. So she'll pick an affirmation that she really, it's being called to her, and I'll pick the same, and then we send it to each other with, just a couple of words of why we feel this affirmation is for that other person, if that makes sense. So and I'm sorry, I don't mean to stutter. I am doing things that are finally making me not be so focused or be so in my head. I love that I'm starting to give myself even more tasks than I have been in the past couple months. I feel like me going through therapy and dealing with everything else, and on top of that, being stuck in the apartment really messed with me mentally. It felt like when I was finally getting to a good place, then COVID happened, and then it's like my progress was like here, and then it would drop, and then be back here, and then it'd be at a steady pace, and then it had like a little dip, and then go back up. And it's just been a roller coaster for me, but I'm doing the best I can, and that's good enough for me, and we are just gonna continue doing what we can. And there's days where I'm probably gonna be a hot mess and I'm gonna be crying on camera, and then there's days where I'm gonna be super happy. There's days where I'm like this, where I'm at a very happy and content place. And yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say today. I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight of some of the things that I have to work on. I'm not giving you the complete full story of what I need to work on, just because I feel like that video would take too long, and I don't want to keep these videos like super long to where you're sitting in front of your phone or your laptop or whatever you're watching it on for like 30 minutes straight. No, I just want to get my point across. I want to talk about what I'm struggling with that day and how I'm learning to handle it and keep it in control and cope with it. And yeah, I use my hands to talk a lot. I apologize. So if you see me with my hands constantly, that's why. But we will be okay, and we're just gonna continue taking it day by day and not worry about tomorrow, which is something that Christopher still needs to get in control of. But we're in control of today and the outcome of today and the things that go on today, and that's all I really need to worry about. And that's something that I'm proud that I'm learning to acknowledge. So yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and if you guys actually do watch and support it, I am so grateful and I appreciate you guys and I love it. And I also will be hopefully talking about my podcast on Saturday when I do my next entry. I have been researching it. I just need to get another mic and also sign up for one of the programs that they have for podcasts, just so I can store all of my files on there, and then figure out how to get it onto Spotify and Apple Podcast and stuff like that. So I'll keep you guys updated. I finally have come up with a name, which is something that has been stuck in my head for a while, and I didn't really know why the title kept popping up in my head. Like, I kept thinking about doing like segments on my YouTube channel, and having like guests come in and just talk with me on my couch while I recorded as drinking coffee or whatever else beverage we want to be drinking. And I like it because it's very mundane and also just very Christopher. And so I decided that I was going to call the podcast Talks with Topher. So I don't know if that sounds good to you guys. If it does or if it doesn't, can you guys leave a comment and let me know? Maybe offer some suggestions. I really want Topher in there. Like, I feel like this has become such a thing with me. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Blah, I'm just rambling now. But yeah, so that's all for today, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next entry.